Hey, it's Stiles from Brand Content Studios, and here is your Content Marketing Quickie for the week of April 1st, 2019. A new study of B2B buyers shows they want random one-off content pushed out to them by vendors, and they want that content to be all text and focus only on the sales proposition vendors want to say. Now, they say if they get this, they're likely to buy immediately based just on what they're told. Okay, so now we've got the obligatory April Fool's story out of the way, and it would be funny, except for that's actually how a lot of companies are still approaching content. They're living the dream, but make no mistake, they're dreaming. I know what you want from the Content Marketing Quickie. I'm not stupid. You want to hear all about European law. Well, straighten up your beret and pull up a hot plate of bangers and mash, because here it comes. This actually made a lot of news and does potentially affect you because it kind of changes how you're allowed to put content on the internet. That's right. I'm talking about the EU Copyright Directive. Governments love directives. At issue, how do you balance the ability to share and spread content? And most of us want that more than anything, for our content to get shared and spread so that more people will see it. Well, how do you balance that with the content creator's right to totally control everywhere their content is seen and get paid for every instance they want to get paid for it? I think this should have been called the EU Have My Cake and Eat It Too Directive. Make no mistake, not unlike my choice to not color my hair, this issue is extremely controversial. Over 5 million signatures and rising on a change.org petition that opposes it, for the good that does. Some experts, like the head of Mozilla's EU public policy, Reagan MacDonald, says the EU sets standards, and you can count on those policies finding their way to the U.S. Why? Because those discussions around the responsibilities that internet platforms have pretty much run parallel. So here are the hot parts of the directive. Article 11 says web platforms and news aggregators will have to pay publishers if they use even small parts of their content in search results. So think Google, Flipboard, Feedly, all those guys. It's being called a link tax. Do you want search engines and aggregators to be incentivized not to show your content? I didn't think so. Then there's Article 17, which says for-profit platforms have to make sure copyright infringing content is nowhere on their sites. So expect a lot of scanning and tracking tools to be on content and be used to vet that content before it can go anywhere. If you're a smaller startup platform and can't afford all that, well, I guess you just don't get to compete. Now, if you want to figure out how all this jibes with fair use law in the U.S. for editorial and satirical use, be my guest. You know, it appears this video marketing thing just might work, but everyone likes proof and they like statistics to show the bosses so they can be convinced that the sky is indeed blue. So here are some video marketing numbers we got from Oberlo for 2019. 85% of all internet users in the U.S. watched online video monthly on any device, some device. It's like a habit or something. 54% of consumers want to see more video content from a brand or business that they support. Let's just underline that part, that they support. I will watch your home movies if you're a really good friend, but I'm much less likely to do so if I don't even want you in my house. 87% of marketing professionals use video as a marketing tool. So now you know if you're the lone holdout. Videos are a consumer's favorite kind of content to see from a brand on social media. But if you want to keep giving them things they don't like, you are free to do that. 88% of video marketers are happy with the ROI of their video marketing efforts. It gets them 66% more qualified leads per year. Now, a typical person is going to spend about 88% more time on your website if there's a video on it. And if they're given the choice of reading text or watching a video, they'll pick the video 72% of the time to learn about a product or a service. And when it comes to search engine, there's Google. I think you've heard of it. But then coming in second is YouTube, on which over 1 billion hours a day of video gets played. Because once you start watching those ASMR videos, you can't stop. You'll break the cozy. And lastly, 10% will remember a call to action after reading it in a text, but 95% will remember it if it's in a video. I don't know how many of you will remember a call to action if it's in a podcast. So stick your finger in your belly button and then let me know if you did it. Pretty cool how you can target very specific audiences with Facebook ads, right? But what about the untargeted? How do they feel? Did you hurt their feelings, or worse, are you ostracizing them and cheating them and trying to cut them out of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? I guess it's no surprise in these times of ours that that's become an issue. Does your ability to target the audience that you want discriminate against everybody else? Are you evil or aren't you? Tell me. Here's what happened. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, they've charged Facebook with discrimination. That's because Facebook doesn't have enough problems. The filing says the way they do ad sales violated the Fair Housing Act of 1968 because some users are excluded from targeted audiences because of gender, ethnicity, religion, nation of origin, geographic location, favorite cereal, familial status, physical disability. I was kidding about the cereal one, but who knows? ProPublica started looking at this in 2016 with a story in which their reporters were able to use Facebook's targeting to buy an ad for housing that excluded all users, quote, with an affinity for African American, Asian American, or Hispanic people. So you can target, but no, you can't. We talked a bit last week about the best B2B content to build trust. You learned a lot. Now we get some more info about what consumers do and don't trust. Mantis Research found 58% say whether or not they read an email depends on the trust they have in that publisher. They have to trust that you send them something worthwhile, and they have to trust that you'll let them easily unsubscribe if you just can't seem to make any good content. However, the same study showed that trust is low and falling. Same old story. Brands have a love affair with their own content, and they think they're crushing it. But their audiences mostly see it as clutter. That's the Content Marketing Quickie for this week. Be that person that turns your followers on to something half decent. Share the link to this podcast, and then you can discuss together whether or not I'm annoying. And we'll see what happens next week.